Good morning to everybody. My name is Paul Bates. I'm the UK sales manager and Ireland. I mustn't forget Ireland. And I have my colleague with me today, Pascal Weiberg. Pascal is the product manager for all our PDF editors, that's Stepz, Pax, but also Pax View, which is our free of charge PDF viewer. About today's session is the whole idea of this inspiration session is to show you some of the tools we have in our software for digital print, because digital print is a growing market. And I think it's important that we show you the tools we've focused on, because it's not just about labels, it's folded carton and corrugated today. These are the markets that are embracing digital print from our side. And one of Hybrid's ambitions is to be the #1 supplier of software for digital print. This is really a high focus for our business. And I think that will come across today. So as you can probably see, you're all muted. We do have a Q&A button at the bottom, so you can ask any questions. And at the end of the session, Pascal and myself will do our best to answer them. If we get swamped with too many questions or we run out of time, we will get back to you on email afterwards. So it's important that we know who you are when you're asking the questions. So if you can put your name in with the question, that would be really, really helpful. Okay, for those of you who are not familiar with Hybrid, this is the only corporate slide you're going to get. Really, Hybrid is about innovating. We have to innovate for labels, for packaging, and bring out solutions that we think the market today requires. We're going to focus predominantly on editors today. So just to give you an idea, Pax and Stepz today, we're at 3,700 licenses around the world. Cloudflow, our automated system, is just over 1,000 systems installed. Obviously, they're a lot bigger items, and we have Cloudflow being the nature it is, we can have one system supplying 2 or 3 sites within an organization. And one of the big differentiators about us, we are an enterprise provider. So our system as Cloudflow can operate on multiple sites from one installation, but also now with Pax and Stepz as well. So we're not going to touch in detail on it today, but we've just launched a web-based licensing model for Pax and Stepz. So it's something that we have to really emphasize that we are an enterprise provider for this market. But that's enough on the corporate side of things. But Pascal, would you like to take over the helm and show some interesting things?
Yes, thank you, Paul, for the introduction. And good morning, everyone. So the digital label and packaging market will continue to grow significantly over the next 5 years. Just think of your local grocery shops or your home delivery services. Well, Paul, you probably remember all the shipments I've done from mainland Europe to the UK, the fine Belgian chocolates or the gins and the tonic waters that I was sending. They all had one or multiple labels on it, and many of them were packed in flexibles or in boxes, isn't it?
Even the vaccines you've been sending us, Pascal, have had packaging.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, so the digitalized printing processes have been proven to be the fastest and the most efficient way to produce labels and packaging. If you set it against the increasing digital print speed, the output quality, the ecological sustainability, and finally the brands and the customers' expectation. And that is the reason why so many packaging printers are investing in digital presses today. But Hybrid Software wants to know, what about the upstream management of your digital presses? How to control and optimize your customer files? How to meet the demand to create and manage packaging with variable data? And how to optimize your ink and printing media to avoid waste and unnecessary costs? Well, I hope in this session that I would like to inspire you on how Hybrid Software may contribute to your production expansion and also to the growth of your company. So let's go live and let's dive into the digital printing process. So everyone should see my screen. So I have launched Stepz, yeah, and Stepz is our new PDF editor that is dedicated to digital printing. Okay, on my right-hand side, I have a planning board, and that planning board is actually created with one of our solutions as well. It's called Clowflow Jobs and Tasks. And actually, as you can see, there are a couple of jobs waiting for me to be done. One of the jobs is the 1020 version 1, where somebody is asking to do a pre-flight, to do color conversions, to add primers and whites, to do step and repeat, and variable data printing. And so actually, the PDF has made available to me, and just clicking that taskbar board, that action board, gives the operator already an efficiency in seeing what he has to do on a daily basis to get that job as quickly as possible from customer delivery to the digital print. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform a quality check on that. And as you can see, for the quality checks, there is a lot of separations in there. But before I start working on separations, maybe I can do a pre-flight. And within the application, you will find pre-flight solutions that give you the ability to, out of presets, for instance, load house rules that you use to check the quality of the incoming files and to perform an analysis on it. Some of the analysis are going to be fixing issues in the PDF in an automatic way, but for some, we are asking the operator for some attention. And of course, it's very important that you do that on an efficient way. So on my left-hand side, I'm actually taking the pre-flight report, and it's actually telling me that there are 3 areas of interest in that file. The first one is the barcode. And if I have a closer look, it indeed detected a barcode, but I have never seen a consumable that have a barcode with all zeros in it. So from within my steps and application, I can select that barcode. I can regenerate barcodes, out of an entire set of types that we deliver. But in this case, it's an EAN code for which I have to replace the number. So there we go. It's checking if my number is correct, and then checking all the other parameters. For instance, the bar width reduction. Well, if we go for digital printing, I can take it out, and I just check the other params in it and just click OK. So the barcode is done. Another given is that there is a lot of information that is not relevant to do the job. So I can also remove that in an automatic way. And I also see that it detects RGB objects in it. And as you can see, these RGB objects are linked to images. Of course, I can correct them in an automatic way during my pre-flight, or I can one by one say, I want to convert it to CMYK or not. But please remember that if I come back to my separation list that I have, that digital printing is not so into printing of spot colors. Okay, so Pantone colors are typically going to be printed in CMYK, or they are going to be printed in the expanded gamut of the digital press. And please note that all of this is also included in our steps. So you will find a color conversion possibility that can remap everything to CMYK. Obvious, that's very easy. Or to, for instance, take the key line and remap the key line to a color book and a definition that I'm using in my company, where I mark the die cut as being technical so that the digital front end of the digital press can leave it out for printing. But still I have all my spot colors. So instead of converting them to CMYK, I would also bring to your attention that I can actually load the expanded gamut profile of my digital press, which I have done here. So it's a CMYK orange, greenish, and violet, bluish color space, that I have an overview of all my separations, and that I can say what I'm going to convert or what not to convert. And then when I just click simply the button, yeah, it is going to remove all of the spot colors out of it, and I can inspect with my viewer, yeah, how it finally gonna look like. So the image is converted to CMYK, but also the orange, green, and violet. And of course, if you want to sort again your separations so they correspond with primer tools, with the digital printing press and the finishing tools, then you can do that as well. Let's dive into a little bit more advanced editing. As you have noticed, there is a lot of irrelevant information if I go to outline, and just by selecting everything and using the cleanup tools, I can get rid of all of the information that is not necessary. Imagine that you are needing primers or finishings like varnishes, then bear in mind that this can be quickly made as well using tools available in Stepz. Here, for instance, I have my Monster logo that I can simply select. I can go to my finishing tool. I can check if there is a varnish available, for instance. If not, I'm just going to write the separation name. I can spread or I can choke at the same time, and I can simply add it, meaning that it has added this to it. So if I speed it up, for instance, and do the same thing for my background, then I'm going to select my background and add it. But bear in mind that I noticed that the background was having a barcode. So if I don't want to have the barcode and I want to have excluded from varnish, I simply gonna select it and subtract it. So this is going to be the result. The same thing is true if you want to add a primer to it, a primer like a white, yeah, that is going to cover the transparent substrate. I can take my front label, call up the white separation and simply add it to it. I can call up the back label and I can simply add it to it as well. And here you go, you have finally all your primers and finishing just using a very simple tool in Stepz. But what is important to know as well, that the front and the back label are not joined in one page. And that's most likely not how you want to do the production. And I can do a lot of interactive tasks right now to split the front label and the back label from each other. For instance, I can select everything, copy it, add an extra page in the PDF file, and then paste and position everything, find the die cut in it, set the trim box, the trim pad, and stuff like that. But we also have pactions, and pactions are parameterized action lists that give you the possibility to automate repetitive tasks. So for instance, I can call up a paction that gives me the ability to select the back label and the front label, and automatically it's going to execute a whole bunch of interactive tasks, okay, to bring the label from page 1 to a separate page. I can repeat that, yeah, for the front label as well. And there you go. Yeah, now I have a new page with that label as well. And the only thing I still have to do is actually deleting my first page. As you see, it has detected the irregular shape of the die cut, and it has fit the trim box and the bleed box around it. If you want to make digital proofs, for instance, then bear in mind as well for that digital proof that you can browse into a marks and info panel library, and that gives you also the possibility to decorate that label with information that is important for that digital proofing. So on the current page or on all pages, I can insert an info panel. Automatically it snaps thanks to pactions and thanks to the dynamic object technology that we have in Stepz to the right position on the label. And the information that will become available is, for instance, the separation list with the amount of in digital printing, for instance, inkjet ink that I'm going to consume for that label, together with how it should appear on the finished roll that I deliver to the customer. So I'm going to save that document now, because I also want to make a step and repeat. Because of course, in optimizing production, we are not going to simply print one label. We are going to gang labels or artwork together. And therefore, I'm going to show you in the upcoming minutes several solutions. Let's first start with an interactive way, but still very automated as well. So for a label, typically we are going to take the tabular step and repeat, where I'm going to set my machine parameters, yeah, or my substrate params, or simply select it out of a preset, what I have done right now. I can take the label out of it, drag and drop it in my step and repeat, and instantly it is going to build a repetition. Of course, the repetition that we get right now is consisting of one label. If we have a closer look, then you see it's rectangular, but remember I had that irregular shape. So packs and Stepz, our editors, are able to detect that irregular shaped label. I am also able to rotate the label according to the to how it should appear on the roll, and I can also foresee it from additional bleed. So that means if I am going to repeat it now 2 by 2, for instance, and foresee it from some extra information, then in that way the repetition is made. But a repetition can be a combination of multiple labels or designs. So here, I'm simply going to grab the second page that I have created of my document, change the content over here, make some extra white between the first label and the second one, and then I can also request to the application to dynamically distribute the white over here. What is important for this here is that you may also need tools to provide to your tool maker so that he can supply you with die cut. Or you may have an inline cutter, a laser cutter on your digital printing press that can take out this information or from that same PDF or from a different file that you are supplying. Well, if you want to do that, I'm just simply going to export the die out of it. I can do that in different flavors. Yeah, for instance, the cut lines, and I can supply that to my tool maker. Yeah, to make my die cut. Of course, if it's needed to add additional information like crop marks that indicate the dimensions, or for instance, in your step and repeat, if you want to add additional marks that are corresponding with your digital printing press hub, you can simply do that, and they will be added to the design as well. But imagine that you have an ERP and an MIS system that nicely prepares the orders for you, in which multiple labels are going to gang with each other. And that's typical for digital presses and digital printing houses. You have a huge volume of labels or designs that have to be imposed, and then I don't see that you are going to use the tabular step and repeat and manually add all these labels in it and keep on creating the step and repeats in an interactive way. Well, then we have another solution that can help you, and it's called Paximizer. And in Paximizer, I can actually impose in an automatic way and in an optimized way multiple designs together. And typical is that in many label companies, a die cut library will have to be respected. So if I now point my Paximizer to a die cut library and I combine that with the order information that I'm going to load into my Paximizer, yeah, I'm doing that right now. I'm selecting the file that my MIS and ERP or ERP system has supplied. Then you will see that automatically the labels in this case that have to be ganged together will appear in the list along with how many for each labels I have to produce. If I'm now going to ask Paximizer, it's going to consult your die-cut library and come up with a solution. And for the solution, it's actually telling me that the best solution it finds with the die-cut that is available is 3 impositions, for which it's going to indicate for each imposition how many times you have to print it, like this one, 1,125 times, and how much waste I'm going to have. That means that, for instance, for this one here, for the first page, I have a waste of 44%, and I can see for each of the labels how many was requested and how much overrun it is. But bear in mind that I had to rotate the label. So when I'm now interactively making some modifications to the information that I got from the MIS because simply it was not provided, and I'm going to ask to Paximize again, then you will see that there are more solutions available. Solutions where I'm combining different step and repeats and die cuts, which is not ideal and gonna lead to a huge waste, up to using one die cut, for instance, and reducing the waste from 45% to 32%. The waste includes the waste of substrate, but also the overrun. So if I'm happy with that, I'm simply going to ask Paximizer to translate that into a step and repeat. That's done. And I can simply add the additional information like bleed or using my marks library, where I'm going to go for my digital press marks that I'm going to run on the entire imposition that I have made. And I actually can send it off now to my digital front end of my digital printing press. I showed it with a label, but the same is true as well when you are going to use the Paximizer for folding carton. So for folding carton, I also have different solutions available. I can go for a digital printing, yeah, where I also gonna have a digital finishing, or I can go for a digital printing with traditional finishing, and that's going to be mostly the case. Then I can set my substrate information, or I'm going to simply load presets out of pre-configuration that I have done. But when the MIS and ERP system is not going to provide you all the information, then bear in mind that this solution Paximizer is still going to be very efficient in your production. I can simply take my folding carton designs. Voila. I can tell them how many I want. So for instance, 50,000, 40,000, and 60,000 of the designs. And I can also ask Paximizer to give me possible impositions and then go for, in this case here, for instance, the second one, create my imposition and then finishing it with any additional information that I need on it. So there you go. The imposition is done. I can foresee it again from some bleed that is applied on it. And then using my marks library, I'm going to load my offset marks, for instance, very simple ones or very advanced ones, and I'm going to put it on the sheet and it will automatically adapt it to it. Of course, for digital printing, you may not want to have all these special exotic registration marks on it, but maybe for your finishing equipment that follows, and that is mostly traditional, you may want to have that as well. Efficiency in digital printing is also having a good tool to do variable data printing. And in there, with Stepz and with Pax, we also have a variable data printing solution within our application. I'm just going to close a few of my PDF files, and I'm going to open design. So, oh, not this one. So, There we go. So here I have a design taken of a label. And the variable data solution that we have in PAX consists of two parts. The first part that we have made is a wizard, because you want to have a quick way to transform your static design into a dynamic design. And how do we do that? Well, we are simply going to browse for a CSV file that contains all of the variable data. This is supplied to you, and we are actually loading that into our Stepz. You notice at the moment that I do that, it's going to tell you how many records that you have. And actually, if I'm now scrolling already through the records, it is already changing my Monster logo and my Monster brand name. The reason is because I have already partially pre-prepared that VDP one. But how do we do that? Well, imagine here that barcode. If I'm zooming in on that part, I simply select the barcode, I add it to it. I can give the variable data placeholder now a name, and simply by dragging and dropping the information from my database into my data link, it is becoming variable. And as you can see, if I'm scrolling through it, now the logo, the brand name, but also my barcode is changing. And the same is true for text. For instance, on my left-hand side, when I'm going to take my text and I add it to it, I can simply take the serial number out of it. We have also a counter if there is no CSV with a serial number, and it is made variable as well, so the number is going up. But also important is that you can work with that information out of the CSV file. So imagine that your customer is asking to add additional information such as a prefix to the number, then without editing the CSV file, you can still add prefix, postfix, and all kinds of things to the variable data information. So now I'm going to save that, yeah, because after making a static design into a dynamic design, I may also want to make a step and repeat. And therefore, I'm going to return to one of my step and repeat solutions, where I'm going to take my label, drag and drop it in it, load my press parameters, yeah, change the orientation so that it corresponds with what I want, detect the station die cut, and then make the repetition. For instance, 5x2 labels. And what you instantly are going to see on screen is that we are actually distributing the variable data in the step and repeat. So that gives you already the possibility to inspect every single sheet of this imposition that you are going to print. But it gives you also the possibility to link the information from your VDP to inspection tools that are running as post-processing steps after your printing. Now, what I can do as well is I can add some extra space to it. I can add bleed to it. I can decorate it with my printer marks again that I want. Okay, there you go. And that's almost done. But remember, sometimes, yeah, digital presses have detection systems that allow you to identify incoming jobs. We call that lead-in information. Or you want to protect the printed roll with lead-out. So that is also possible with Stepz. So I can take a lead-in and a lead-out out of my library. And I'm just going to save that once before I do that. So I'm gonna call it order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 1, and then VDP hub, yeah. And I'm going to take my lead-in information out of my libraries that I have created, hub. And you will see that if I go to the beginning of my VDP, it is going to combine some order information like the reference order number together with some barcodes so that I can scan it on my press along with additional information like the die cut that I can use on my finishing equipment to calibrate the equipment and in this case, for instance, cut the labels correctly.
Pascal, are you only printing the key line so that saves the customer ink on the inkjet presses?
Yes, we are only printing the key line. That's correct. So you can decide what you want to have in these lead-in and in these lead-outs. Yes. Okay, and then, of course, if we have made the imposition, I can inspect how many meters I'm gonna have lead in. I can see every single design. I can also decide how I'm gonna distribute the variables. Is it for roll printing or is it for sheet fed printing? So in folding carton, for instance, you can use the same variable data printing as well. And I can also, in case of numerotation, tell on how the numbers have to be distributed. For instance, I'm telling here, look, I want to have columns with 6 numbers in it before it starts a new numbering. And actually, I can inspect that. That's my imposition of my first 2, then my second 2. Oh, sorry, I'm clicking too fast. Okay, there we go. The 6th one, and then suddenly it will say, well, I'm going to stop and put some blanks in it so that the finishing will be quite fast. And then, of course, if my imposition is made for variable data printing, I can actually lay it off to my digital printing press. And there, with hybrid software, we offer also several solutions. I have an execution for VDP that is going to check the data integrity and give you the possibility to drop it off in the hot folder of your digital front end. But we know that in variable data printing, it's not about producing, like in my case, 140 different designs on it. It can be also thousands, millions, and billions of unique designs that have been produced. And therefore, I can actually lay it off as well to an execution process that happens in the background using ClowFlow, where I'm going to simply grab my variable data job, submit it into submitting it into my digital, into my execution. Yeah, there you go, and lay it off to the workflow. As a result, I will be able to inspect the entire execution as well of my thousands, millions of different labels online. Yeah, and if you do that in offline, so on your workstation, yeah, then you can also use SpexView, for instance, which is our free PDF viewer to inspect the quality of the imposition as well. So. And with this, I'm at the end of my live demonstration. So I wonder if you are inspired of everything that I have shown to you. Yeah, I wanted to inspire you on how to reduce artwork preparation times. And you have seen in my demonstration that I have used several solutions to solve various artwork challenges easily. I was doing pre-flighting of the incoming artwork. I was doing color conversion to my digital pressing set. And that was not always CMYK. It can also be an expanded gamut. I was using my finishing tool creator to add primers and whites. I was correcting the barcode, and I was using my dynamic live object technology to add dimensions, to add die cuts and digital proofs. And above that, within my editors, I can automate the interactive tasks by using Pactions. I would like to inspire you as well on how I print cost effectively. You have seen that with Stepz, we have a lot of step and repeat solutions for label and packaging. These step and repeat solutions, they are dedicated to digital printing, traditional printing, but also a combination of both technologies. We know that many digital presses are doing primers with Flexo, for instance, and finishing also on a classic way with cutting tools. Yeah, I showed you with Paximizer how I can gang a huge amount of labels in an optimized way on my roll and do productions, and how I can lay off die cutting information to my toolmaker. And at the end, I hope I inspired you on how you can streamline your variable data jobs by showing you how you can easily convert your static designs into dynamic designs, and how I make an imposition and save it as an optimized PDF and lay it off to your digital printing press. And believe me, it's a universal PDF that is coming out of it. So that means as well that you can send it off to any digital press that has a digital front end that is PDF compatible. So I hope that you are inspired about Stepz as being a powerful artwork preparation tool that have all the tools inside to do variable data printing in an easy way on any digital printing press, and that has all the step and repeat solutions like Paximizer to cost-effective gang different label and packaging together. So if you are inspired, well, just follow the flow and contact Hybrid Software, yeah, to help you on your digital press room transformation. So Paul, I hand over to you for the questions that appeared in the chat.
I have some questions, Pascal, and it would be wrong for me to answer them, so I'll shout them out, and if you can answer them, that will be absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a question. Can Paximizer do nesting or can Paximizer do nested step and repeat?
Yes, so Paximizer has the ability to do nested step and repeat. And in there, yeah, in my demonstration, well, my folding carton was quite rectangular, but it was nesting at the same time. Okay. And when we are doing the nesting, then we can do free nesting, yeah, without taking into account an existing die-cut library. Or you can also tell to respect die-cut libraries that are already used in production.
What would you do then, Pascal? You'd export a CF2 file for the die maker?
There are two ways over there. You can export a CF2 for the die maker if it's yeah, let's say a free nested nesting that you are doing, yes. Or you can also supply a PDF file.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Can we open AI files or just PDFs in Pax and Stepz?
Well, in Pax and Stepz, you can open Adobe Illustrator files that are saved in PDF compatible mode. Yeah. However, so we take the PDF section out of it and we discard the Illustrator session, but we also have an option that allows you to import the Illustrator section and convert it using hybrid technology into PDF. And then the other way is also possible. We have a solution as well to export back into Illustrator. If you are more interested in it, go to our YouTube channel and search for Round Trip. There is a movie about that.
Okay, thank you, Pascal. Next question. Are you able to work with HP Mosaic as well? Probably using variable data placeholders for dynamic designs.
Yes, so HP Mosaic is a technology that allows you to have dynamic images and dynamic positions of artwork in your variable data printing job. And the answer over there is yes, Stepz and Pax have the ability to do that as well. If you, I did not show it here in my presentation, but you can also see on YouTube, for instance, for our variable data printing movies that are available, how we do that.
And am I right in thinking, Pascal, you wouldn't need the Mosaic edition from HP to do this?
That is correct. So yeah, you can do that. So, and the nice advantage that you will have over there as well is that since you're working with Stepz, and since Stepz is outputting a PDF in an optimized way, so that PDF is so universal that it can be used on different printing presses. So you can send it off to HP, you can send it off to Durst, to Domino, to Zycom, to anyone.
Perfect, thank you. Next question, this is a nice one. Can we pre-flight the VDP result? For example, if a barcode is missing from a CSV file or an image link?
Well, that's a difficult one indeed, and a very interesting one to answer. Well, the first thing is that when you want to have pre-flight solutions on variable data printing, and then we talk about finishing data, then I would rather prefer that you have an inspection tool as post solution on the printing press that is going to check all the elements of the variable data and then check it according to the CSV file that was used. But of course, we know with our solutions on which page, what kind of variable data printing has been applied on it. So obvious that there is a possibility to build a solution to do that inspection on a digital way, but that still doesn't gonna tell you if the printed file is going to be correct or not.
Okay, thank you. There's one question here. I will answer this, Pascal, although you probably can as well. Is Paxamizer a chargeable plugin? And the answer is yes. Are we still in beta with Paxamizer, Pascal? Is it out of beta yet?
Well, we today, the Paxamizer that we are using is going to be officially released in Pax 6.1. So that is in just a couple of months from now, just before the summer.
But it is a chargeable add-on.
That is chargeable, yes.
And Simon, I will come back to you and confirm what the price will be. I'm sure you don't want me to do it on here. The next question, Pascal, is in your example, you showed how to change color space of the file to get rid of your Pantone inks. How do you manage that color profile? Where do you get it from?
Yeah, so since all the color management is based around ICC in the solutions of hybrid software, you can use any color management software to generate an ICC profile or a device link. So typically, the profile that I was using is coming from one of our customers. When they installed their digital printing press, they were creating also an ICC profile of the expanded gamut of that press. And now they are using that profile into Stepz or into Pax to do the conversions upfront and to have control over the color conversion entirely before they are sending it to digital press. So the answer is you can use any color management software to generate that ICC profile.
Okay. And I think the final question is Stepz compatible with any type of digital press, whether it's inkjet, toner, whatever?
Yes, it is. So we are outputting a PDF file. PDF is a universal graphic file format. And that means the today digital front ends of printing presses, let's say most of them support PDF. So you will be able to lay off the PDF directly to the printing press and start printing.
And quick question from me, Pascal, are those files large? Because obviously they could be huge.
Very good question. So first of all, I'm gonna answer it with two answers. So first of all, if you make a step and repeat in our software and you are using a label or a design, a folding carton or a flexible design, and that is 5 megabyte, and you step it up 10 times, then your step and repeat is slightly going to be a little bit bigger when saving it. It's not going to be 50 megabyte, but it's just going to be, let's say, 6 megabytes, 7 megabytes to store the hinting and the step and repeat information into the PDF. The same is true for variable data printing. In this way, we are storing one time the static data into the PDF. And of course, we are adding the variable data on top of that. So that means they are going to be slightly bigger, but there is not going to be a huge difference between the one up and the step and repeat.
Fantastic. Thank you. And that's it. That's all the questions, Pascal. I guess right now it's just a roundup. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, everyone, to attend this web session as well. If you want to have more information, please consult our website, hybridsoftware.com. If you want to stream some in-depth movies about packages, for instance, about variable data printing, about color management and imposition, we have a YouTube channel where you're going to find more in-depth information. And if you want to find out the latest of our company, we are also on LinkedIn, where we post our recent events on it as well.
Okay, thank you, Pascal.
So thank you very much, and have a good continuation of your day.
Thank you, everyone. Cheers now. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.